Welcome to Cybersecurity Awareness TV, episode number 448, recorded February 3rd, 2024. My name is Mac Jackson Jr. I want to welcome everybody here to Cybersecurity Awareness TV. I'm a professor and cybersecurity consultant here to navigate you through the digital landscape, gear up for a thrilling ride through the digital world, and how to protect yourself, your family, and your business from the fastest growing crimes of the 21st century. To find out more about my business, remember to go to my website, MacJacksonJR.com. That's MacJacksonJR.com. And remember, folks, to share and hit that subscribe button to all of our social media around the world. Let people know what you've learned here on our show. In today's episode, we're going to discuss in Cybersecurity Stories why doctors still use pagers for messaging. That's right, folks. In the age of smartphones and instant messaging and smart apps, doctors are still using the old-fashioned pagers from the 1980s and 90s for communication and why that is a threat. We're also going to discuss Apple I/O, the operating system of the iPhone. If you have an iPhone and you are using version number 17 for the updates, we have some issues that you should stay tuned for. It's very concerning. Despite of the advancements in cellular communication in the healthcare industry and around the world of things that we do, pagers, folks, are still being used by doctors in the healthcare industry to communicate basic information between their hospital and the doctor. This week, we'll dive into the reasons why this persistent use of pagers in the medical field can be a hazard for data protection, especially of their patients. We'll explore the unique benefits and reliability of the pagers and why some hospitals and doctors are still utilizing this piece of equipment. And furthermore, we'll look at some of the modern type of attacks that hackers are used to take advantage of this old technology. We'll look at the type of attack that we call in our industry a man-in-the-middle attack. So let me explain that to you what it is. A man-in-the-middle attack is when information is transmitted from point A to point B. A man-in-the-middle attack goes into the middle of this communication and exploits the data. That's what happens with these old types of pagers. Now, I've done some research of this, and the literature that I found online and things that have been written about it and studied by other researchers as myself, there's not that much information on man-in-the-middle attack with pagers because most of the research has been conducted regarding internet devices, such as the Internet of Phones, software transmitting back and forth. So I'm bringing this to the attention of all of us out there to look into the pager technology and why doctors are still using this type of communication when there are smartphones. But I have a doctor here, a video to show you reasons why they're using it. My first story is a video I have for you called Why Doctors Still Use Pagers. Take a look.
I'm sitting in the basement of a major hospital in the biggest city in the United States, and yet I have no cell phone reception. Believe it or not, that's not even the most important reason that doctors still use pagers today. My name's Max Feinstein, and I'm an anesthesiologist recording at the Mount Sinai Hospital in New York City. And in this video, I explain why this ancient relic that predates my own childhood still plays a major role in healthcare communication. You may have noticed, being in a hospital, that they tend not to have great cell phone reception, and I'm not the only one who's noticed this.
Service can be an issue in hospitals. You're underground some of the time. Hospitals are made of things that make service not work well, apparently, based on my experience.
And then when I started to do research for this video, I found an astute comment by Shaka1277 on Reddit, who pointed out that there's tons of shielding everywhere in hospitals, especially around the X-ray, CT, and MRI scanners. When I started digging into slightly more reputable sources, it became apparent that hospitals are intentionally designed with walls that are supposed to stop penetrating X-ray signals, which is a safety mechanism to reduce bystander exposure to ionizing radiation. In the case of MRIs, that actually stops an extremely strong magnetic force from attracting metal, like the camera that's directly in front of me, from slamming into the MRI scanner and hitting anything along the way. Incidentally, the materials that are used to build these really thick walls do also stop cell phone signal from going through, which is why it's pretty common for basements, which often contain any sort of imaging equipment in hospitals, to not have very good reception. By contrast to cell phones that use frequencies that are easily blocked by these thick walls, pagers actually use a frequency that's very similar to FM radio that has really excellent distance and great penetration through thick walls and metal barriers. And that's just one of several really important reasons why pagers are more reliable in a hospital setting than cell phones are. Another big advantage is the fact that by their very primitive nature, pagers are just one-way communication devices, meaning there's not that much traffic, relatively speaking, on the networks on which they operate. By contrast, cell phone networks can be extremely busy, so the extra amount of traffic on the network can make cell phones less reliable. That means that under emergency circumstances like a natural disaster or a terrorist attack, that a cell phone network is less likely to be reliable, but the pager is most likely to continue working. As you can imagine, that kind of reliability from pagers is a huge asset for medical professionals during emergency circumstances. My cell phone still doesn't get reception here. You might find yourself asking, what could possibly be so important that it couldn't wait until I get out of the basement and finally get some reception? Well, if you've watched some of my older videos, here we go. You've seen that anesthesiologists can have emergency responsibilities throughout the hospital, including responding to pages for emergency airway situations, or cardiac arrests anywhere in the hospital, or going down to the emergency department if a patient is being brought in by emergency medical services for being in a traumatic accident. These are just some examples of some of the most time-sensitive issues that anesthesiologists can get paged for. And of course, doctors from basically every specialty have some time-sensitive issues that need to be addressed right away, so reliability for communication devices is of the utmost importance. A very underrated benefit of pagers is their exceptionally long battery life. So when I'm on call and things are quiet, I'm in the call room and I put my head on my pillow, I don't have to worry when I go to sleep that I'm going to miss a page because my pager ran out of batteries. That just doesn't happen. If you've ever used a pager before, you know that this thing really doesn't go down without a fight. If it's running out of batteries, it'll let you know. Also, for as ridiculous as this sounds, the fact that these are so simple and standardized across hospitals means that there's effectively no learning curve if you go from one hospital to the next, so you automatically know how to use the emergency paging system. One brief anecdote I'll share is that while I was in residency, I actually spent some time training physicians on how to use a new electronic health system that was being rolled out in a different hospital. And while most of them were up for the task of figuring out how to use it, some of them, particularly those who were close to the end of their career anyways, literally just quit because they didn't want to learn how to use the new electronic health record system. So anyways, you basically never have to worry about that with the pager. And for as much as I despise the ringtones or whatever the sounds of a pager are called, you can't deny that they're extremely effective in getting your attention. And just a trigger warning for anyone who's used a pager before, but this is what they can sound like. And of course, who could deny how cool it is to walk around with a pager on your hip? At least that's what I thought when I was a third-year med student. So aren't there any better systems in place that can help me communicate if I, say, find myself in a basement and don't have any service? For a while now, some hospital systems have rolled out chat systems through the electronic health record, which can be accessed in some circumstances by employees that are using their cell phones connected to hospital Wi-Fi. But again, hospital Wi-Fi is not necessarily going to be as reliable as the frequencies that are used for pagers. And that also kind of brings us back to square one, because if employees have to depend on their cell phone, then they could run out of batteries more easily or have some sort of malfunction, whereas pagers just tend to be more reliable. And a lot of healthcare professionals actually use messaging services like WhatsApp to get in touch with people, but there can be privacy issues associated with that, and again, that relies on someone using their cell phone. So right now in 2023, many doctors employ a hybrid system where they have some sort of messaging system that they use on their cell phone, as well as a pager that they use for more critical circumstances. If you enjoyed this video, you might want to check out this video that I made where I show what it's like being an anesthesiologist on trauma call that involves responding to a lot of emergency pages. Thanks very much for watching. I'll see you next time.
So folks, the man-in-the-middle attack is a significant part of cybersecurity, as I mentioned before, as the hackers will be the interceptor of information transmitted between point A and point B. In other words, if a message is transferred to the doctor from point A to get to the doctor, point B, the man-in-the-middle attack can read this information. Now, this technology currently is available all over. Hackers are using this information everywhere as far as internet transmissions. But radio frequency transmissions, a simple radio transmissions that pagers are creating or sending out, quite easily done. With devices that you could purchase very, very inexpensively, hackers can intercept this information. Now, why is this important? Well, the information that is sent between the doctor and their hospital can be personal identifiable information or information that can be deemed privacy through the HIPAA laws protecting patients' data. This information can consist of anything from their patient's name, social security number, birth date, and the medical condition. Now, with these little devices that hackers can acquire, you can monitor these transmissions from doctors and save this information into databases, then in turn sell them on the darknet or use them to blackmail or exploit the actual patient themselves. That's why this is very important. This information can be done with utilizing little tools, for example, called a software, it's called SDR. That's it. It's SDR. It's a little decoding device used to decode radio transmission frequencies, and it can be connected to your laptop. This type of equipment can be easily purchased, costing anywhere from $20, folks. As low as $20. We need to investigate more of this and sound the alert, sound the awareness. That's why I'm doing this episode and talking about this. We need to know about these type of techniques and come up with ways that we can increase the security with the messaging sent by doctors on pager devices. Now, again, not just paging devices. We're talking nuclear power plants, water treatment centers around our country utilize these small pagers from back in the early days, 30 years ago. Technology has advanced so much within that time that hackers are now going back and attacking and exploiting this type of old technology. Again, it shows us that we must continuously look at our infrastructure and always come up with advancements in improving it. The healthcare industry, as we know, we talked about a lot in our show here, is very susceptible for these type of attacks. Anything from ransomware attacks, where they're shutting down hospitals, to now pagers, where they're monitoring the communication between the doctors and other authorities to exploit information and expose it on the darknet. Criminals are always trying to find out ways, folks, to find your personal identifiable information. We must stay vigilant and we must stay aware, folks. We'll see you back here in our next message.
Introducing CS Now Staffing, led by yours truly, Laura Nowlin. As the founder and president, I bring over 17 years of expertise in sourcing for talent, building winning teams of professionals, marketing, and workforce development. At CS Now Staffing, we're not just a staffing agency. We're your strategic partner in building a winning team of professionals for your business. My passion for community service extends to connecting entrepreneurs with local resources. Recognized by the Small Business Administration as the 2022 Nevada Family-Owned Business of the Year, we're not just changing the workforce landscape, we're defining it.
Hi folks, this is Mac Jackson Jr. from Cybersecurity Awareness TV. I'm here to tell you today about Dr. Aki Akimi from Vegas Direct Primary Care. As healthcare costs are on the rise, Dr. Akimi takes the time to explain and recommends lifestyle changes to improve your health and your well-being. She is very attentive and knowledgeable, and she listens, folks, to what your needs are and help you get to the healthcare that you deserve. Dr. Akimi would suggest things like food is the best medicine. That's what she says. I want to give praises out to her and thank her for her support here with me, as well as the Las Vegas community. Thank you, Dr. Akimi. Hi, folks. Welcome back to Cybersecurity Awareness TV. I'm your host, Mac Jackson Jr. In this episode segment, we're going to discuss Apple iOS, this new upgrade that you've received from your Apple device called version 17, right? If you're an iPhone user, you've been waiting for this particular segment. Law enforcement around the world are concerned about this nationwide use and the rise of this issue that people are being concerned about of this new update from iOS iPhones. This is called name drop. What it means, if two iPhones are in vicinity, come close to each other, they can transmit the contact information from one phone to the other, sharing information from one person to the other. In the Android, it used to be called bump, but now, and that was about almost 10 years ago or more. But now, as of 2024, Apple has come up with their version of their bump technology called name drop, right? Where you can share information between one phone and the other. And it could be personal information. Well, what happens is this information that comes through the update, it's an opt-in. It automatically sets your phone to opt into this. You don't have an option when it's first installed in your phone. So you must go back in your phone in settings and change to opt out of this particular option. To talk more about this, let me show you a couple of stories that are going on around the world from other news sources about this particular issue dealing with the Apple. Here's our first one from NBC News.
Police departments across the country are issuing warnings about a new iPhone feature. It's called Name Drop, and it allows you to instantly send your contact information to a nearby phone or Apple Watch.
Still, many tech experts do say it's safe and that the privacy warnings are fear-mongering. NBC News correspondent Valerie Castro has everything you need to know before you update your iPhone.
A new iPhone update.
It's never been easier to share,
leading to new privacy concerns.
I don't want anybody touching their phone to my phone or my kids' phones and getting information.
Law enforcement agencies across the country posting warnings about the name drop feature, a part of the latest iOS 17 software update.
With Name Drop, you can just bring your phones close together.
That move brings up a prompt to instantly swap your contact information with another phone or Apple Watch. Then each user can choose to share or receive it. To cancel it, separate the phones or lock your screen. The feature defaults to on, so it has to be manually disabled.
I've seen people, literally myself, click those things without even knowing what they're clicking or accepting, if you will.
Sheriff Michael Bouchard of Oakland County, Michigan, speaking out about the update and warning people with this post on social media, asking parents to check their children's phones.
I'm concerned about the default to on versus the default to off, and you turn it on when you want it. So that's where you really need to be aware of what you now have on your phone, what does it give access to, and how do you limit that by your choice?
An Apple spokesperson pointing us to this privacy page saying Name Drop was designed to share contact information with only your intended recipients. You can also choose the specific contact information you want to share, and just as important, which information you don't want to share. So viral videos like this one on TikTok with more than 2 million views.
If you're sitting next to somebody on the subway or on the bus, they can get all your information. This is a huge security risk.
Are not completely accurate. This woman later clarifying her claims.
While it's true that it doesn't automatically share like I thought it did, it does open you up for exploitation of people who are ahead of the game.
But that has some people calling the warnings fear-mongering. Even Bangor, Maine police addressing some panicky emails with the reassurance that your phone is not downloading your contact list into every iPhone you walk by at the mall.
Is this new feature a security risk?
I would not consider this to be a security risk. Actually, one of the bigger security risks is not updating to the latest iOS. By updating your software, you're giving Apple the opportunity to patch any potential exploits that could come out from it.
But Sheriff Bouchard says despite the pushback, his concern is for those who just aren't aware.
Some of the tech-savvy people were commenting that it's an overreaction because you have to accept, but again, they're tech-savvy. And we always find our victims in those that are unaware of what just happened to them.
To disable the feature, head to your settings, click on General, and find the AirDrop tab. Then find the option for bringing devices together and toggle the switch to off. Name Drop, a handy feature for some, too much technology for others.
And Valerie is with us here now. I have to tell you, I did the update myself and got kind of confused about a lot of things in this update. We're talking about security risks associated with this, but are there benefits? Are there things that could help us?
So I think the best real-world application would be for someone who's in business. Maybe you're at a conference and you want to share information. A lot of people don't carry business cards anymore. This is an easy, seamless way to tap your phone and share your name and your email and phone number, and that's really the only thing that gets shared. Your phone number or your email, and you can choose to share either both or just one at a time. And this technology is not new. It's been around for more than 10 years. There was an app back in 2009 for Android phones called Bump, where you would bump your phones together and share the information that way. That sort of fizzled out. So this is the newest iteration of that, and this has actually been around since September.
Oh.
Okay.
The more you know.
Well, yeah, we all have two phones too,
I know,
so mine have been bumping into each other,
swap
accidentally swapping. We're a rare breed with the two phones. Valerie, thank you. NBC News correspondent Valerie Castro with us.
So, folks, looking at this, my commentary, my opinion, again, on this is you need to stay aware. That's the theme of our show here at Cybersecurity Awareness TV. Stay aware and inform. You must update under all of your devices, for all your devices, from the manufacturer, and especially for security purposes. Anytime the manufacturers of your laptops, your tablets, your smartphones, your phones in general, definitely take advantage of the updates because you want to make sure that you are protected when it comes to cyber threats. Also, another one, folks, you need to remember is the longevity of your phone. Continue to its lifespan. A lot of these new phones now, their lifespans are 2, maybe 3 years. I've known clients that have phones for 5 years or 5 years old, and the manufacturers are no longer supporting them. So now your phones are susceptible to cyber attacks because the manufacturers are not supporting those old operating systems. So it's a interesting gambit that we're playing here where we have to keep our devices updated continuously. So for those of you who have the iPhone, make sure that you go into the settings and unsubscribe for the setting called the name drop. And that would be one way to avoid this confusion or theoretical issue that may happen with your phone. But again, the other way, folks, is to make sure you stay informed and stay aware of these types of changes. Here's another report I want to show you from other consumers that are very concerned about this. And again, they should opt out. Coming to us from NBC News.
Technology has definitely exceeded itself.
A new feature on your iPhone makes it easier than ever to share your contact information. Just a tap of the phones, and you can share your number, email, even a contact photo. Some law enforcement agencies are warning thieves could use this feature to steal your information.
NBC2's Sarah Metz is fact-checking those claims and walking you through how you can turn the feature off if you like.
iPhone, we swap, you steal. It's a concern.
As with anything else, a healthy dose of concern, always.
But also a misconception.
As always, these stories tend to take on a life of their own.
Having my information in the iPhone just to go wherever it wants to go if you're close, no, I don't like that at all.
But there's a little more to it. Apple says name dropping only works when two iPhones are centimeters apart. Let me show you. These iPhones right now are touching and they're sharing. Let me reset. I'm gonna put the iPhones on either end of the ruler. Then I'm gonna keep inching them closer and closer. But they never share until they're touching.
There are intentional steps involved. It's not just brushing past someone, now you've lifted information like you picked their digital pocket. It's nothing like that.
However, the concerns from local law enforcement do not revolve around how it works. It's the fact that you're automatically opted into the new feature, sometimes without you even having a clue.
I don't know what it is.
But is it already in the palm of his hand?
I see you're not updated.
No, I'm not updated yet? Oh, okay.
So you don't have it on at this very moment.
Name drop didn't work for Daniel because he doesn't have iOS 17.
Oh, good, I won't update my phone then.
But tech experts say you always should because you don't want to miss out on new safety features and bug fixes.
I'm ready to bring back beepers.
Let me show you how to check if you have name dropping on and also how to turn it off if you want to. First, you want to click on settings and then go down to general. After that, AirDrop, and this is what you want to look for, bringing devices together. Whether that switch is on
or off.
Technology has definitely exceeded itself.
We're local today from Fort Myers. Sarah Metz, NBC2.
So, folks, as we've learned here in this segment, that these type of things that can happen to your phones, your devices, all means that you have to stay aware. Stay aware of what's going on. Anytime there's an update on any of your device, let me recommend this. Make sure you read all the new updates and the features that are now part of these upload that you're doing on your device. And understand how it works and see if it's something that you need. And also check the features to opt out of things in it that do not affect you. Remember, folks, hackers will look for ways to exploit you any way they could find it. Any ways they could do that. We all must remember, hashtag stay cyber woke, folks. This is Mac Jackson for Cybersecurity Awareness TV. Again, you remember you can always find my company by going to Vanderson Cyber Group, where we can talk to you about having cybersecurity awareness education for your business. You can find me again at macjacksonjr.com. That's macjacksonjr.com, folks. Stay tuned, and we'll see you next week. Thanks again.